In our previous episode of Finding Love in America, we told you the story of Q, nicknamed for Qinghua Zhao, a Chinese woman from Xi'an who got a PhD in engineering from UC San Diego. At 26, she was already living her dream, dating and working as a scientist in Silicon Valley. But just before turning 31, her 6-year relationship was over.
I was aggressively dating. I was husband hunting. I go to events. I also organize events. And I go dancing twice a week in the evenings.
Not wanting to disappoint her parents back in China, Q promised them she would find a match in 3 years.
It's like finding a job, right? You have to find all these different positions. At the beginning, my problem is how to find these people. And then very quickly you find the problem is no longer sourcing. The problem is how to filter good people because you have too many applicants.
Q had many men interested in dating her, but she never found the one she wanted to marry.
I know this is a problem for me because I have been dating for 3 years and with no success.
She would eventually turn her personal problem into a business opportunity.
I'm the perfect person to start and run a Chinese dating site.
That dating site is Two Red Beans. Within 3 years, not only did she meet her husband online, Two Red Beans also became the go-to network for 750,000 Chinese and non-Chinese looking for a life partner. And Q herself has been named by Business Insider magazine as one of 13 badass immigrants in technology. Wow, what happened? I'm Mabel Chan, and this is One in a Billion, a podcast about China through the voices of Chinese millennials in America. Through 3 years of trying to find a partner on dating websites, Q had come to understand something profound about herself.
It helped me to discover what kind of person I am, what kind of people I can go well with as my husband.
What it boils down to is whether her husband can blend in with her family.
I dated non-Chinese. My boyfriend from grad school is actually non-Chinese. And if you find another person who is also Chinese, then it's a little bit, I think it's more natural because your family is part of this big family.
Q was hardly alone in this. Many Chinese prefer to marry Chinese. That personal problem aside, at age 33, Q was feeling restless in her career.
Okay, I can stay to be a good engineer, get a lot done. So I worked on the 3D video technology in Broadcom and the first several patents for 3D
It's exciting.
Video. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Yeah, you were making a mark.
Right, exactly. But you still felt like you are not contributing enough. I felt like I was just trying to make some couch potatoes' life better because they can see a more clear picture on their TV. And
That's funny.
yes.
One day, it suddenly became clear to her what she did not want. Q saw her company, Broadcom, handing out loyalty awards to her colleagues who'd been around for years.
I was thinking, oh my God, these people have been here for 5 years. What if I'm still here after 5 years or even 10 years doing the same job? I felt like this is not what my life should be.
Knowing what you don't want is good, but knowing what it takes to go after what you do want is critical. All these years when Q was husband hunting, she was also exploring business opportunities by talking to entrepreneurs. One of them asked her, "Are you ready to quit your job?"
I thought, oh, no, I'm not ready. I have salary. If I quit my job, I have nothing.
Stable income, right? Important.
Right, exactly. But then I didn't quit. I think I was afraid of instability, that I don't have money coming to my accounts anymore. And I was afraid of maybe what if you fail and what your friends would say about you, Harley. But then one day, I knew I crossed the line.
That day, she stumbled on a magazine article called In Praise of Failure that pushed her over the line.
What if you fail? What your parents would think about you? To fail is not failure. Being mediocre and not do anything is failure. And if you never tried, you never failed, then you are a failure because you never tried to do something better. That's just resonated with me so much. And to the end of the article, I couldn't hold myself. I was shaking, basically, so excited. I was shaking, and I knew I crossed the line.
You feel as if you got to do this. You got to try to actualize your dream.
Right, yeah. And then the rest of it is just history. I went back on Monday. I told my boss I was going to quit.
In 2010, Q quit her dream job. She became a student at 2 incubators for aspiring entrepreneurs, the Founder Institute and StartX at Stanford.
They teach you how to run marketing, how to do market research, how to get product done, how to find mentors, how to raise funding. And also one very important thing, how to incorporate your company and set up the share structure.
So you put yourself through this program. How long did it take?
This program is only 4 months. It's very strict, and it basically, I think there were about 51 companies went into the program. Only 11 companies came out, graduated.
It was during these months of intense training and fine-tuning her various business ideas that Q circled back to her own personal problem, which had a huge market potential.
I didn't know how big this problem is. So once I started to do research, I realized, wow, this is a really big problem. And my background is technology. At that time when I launched Two Red Beans, I truly believed that I was probably the best person in this world to do this.
Q picked the name Two Red Beans, a literary notion dated back to Tang Dynasty, which symbolizes the romantic sentiment of expressing love in poems and stories. One of the biggest differentiators for Two Red Beans among all the other dating websites, they zero in on characteristics that are more relevant to Chinese, including arrival dates in the US and Chinese zodiac signs. Since launching in 2011, the website has grown exponentially.
We have over 750,000 users now, and we are the biggest one in the US, Canada, UK, and we're expanding to other parts of the world like France, Australia, Singapore, and other parts of the world.
Wow.
And I think the user density is really high right now. Because in the US, 1 out of 4 singles have already registered on our site, which is amazing.
Q also got angel investment from Match.com founder Will Bunker.
I felt that she reminded me of myself 15 years ago because she has both business sense and she can program. And I respected the fact that she had worked really hard, set aside savings, and was building the site on her own without raising a lot of money and iterating until she found the right approach to crack the market.
2 years ago, Q was named by Business Insider as one of 13 badass immigrants in technology. But she was quick to point out the first year was most rocky, which we'll tell you more about in our next episode. But first, we want to let you, our listeners, voice your questions for Q.
Hi Q, this is Angie in Utica, New York. I have a few questions for you about Two Red Beans and your own dating experience on it. So first, I read that the mission of Two Red Beans is to connect singles, quote, who share the same values and experiences, end quote. For many of your users, there is surely some kind of loose thread connecting them through general experiences, like growing up in China or receiving a secondhand Chinese culture from immigrant parents. But are the values distinctively Chinese as well?
I don't think they are distinctly Chinese. I believe every individual is different, but I do believe that with the same culture background and the same experience, Chinese people tend to have more of some characteristics more than other ethnicities.
What do you think are some values that tie your users together?
So I think for Chinese people, family values are very important. To the point where some people say that if you marry a Chinese, you marry their family.
And for you personally, what were the values you kept in mind on your search for love?
For me, you have to be a good person for sure. You have to want to be in a monogamous marriage relationship. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hi Q, this is Franklin from Boston. I have a question for you. Since there are tons of dating sites out there, how do you see yours as a unique and different one? What is the unique problem that Two Red Beans is trying to solve?
So I use all these sites. I think the main problem is the noise is very high and the signal is very low.
Expand on that. I like that.
Right. So in the electrical engineering sense, its signal to noise ratio is very low. Then the chances of you getting the correct information is very low.
Wow.
So in the dating scene, it's basically you get so many people writing messages to you, and you have to go through all their profiles and figure out who you should go out with. It's very time consuming.
Mm-hmm. It feels as if you're approaching finding your husband like finding a job. Am I right?
Yeah, it's true. I actually believe finding a husband is like finding a job, but depends on how urgent it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you're young, when you're less than 28 years old, probably for a female, there's no hurry. Well, this age is different for different people, right? I have friends who is only 26 and she's very eager to get married and have kids.
And what was it like to chat online and date as the founder of the site? Did your potential matches know?
I had my profile on the site, obviously. And when every user joins our website, our system automatically sends out a greetings from my account to say that welcome to Two Red Beans, and if you need any help, feel free to find me. After we launched, I actually didn't go out and date for, let's say, 11 months.
Wow.
Because I just have too many things to do.
And how did you know that your husband is the one for you? Thanks, Q.
He actually signed up on our website the first day our website launched. We chatted a little bit. He did a startup shortly before we launched our website. So he was interested in startup life. So he said he had some experience he might be able to share. So we actually met up with him. Me and my co-founder met up with him for the purpose of like startup founders communicating with each other. And I didn't think too much about it. Until later, some of my friends said, you should date this guy. He's pretty amazing. And I decided, okay, I need to date. I can't delay this anymore. So I actually wrote to him and asked him whether he wanted to go out. I went out on a date with him, and it went really well for us. And we knew we were like the right person for each other really quickly.
Wow. And then how long did it take before you knew he was the one?
It was very quick. I think on the third date, I already knew that he was one. He knew I was the one. And we got married like after we dated for 99 days.
Wow.
So, yeah.
How did you know? What is the decisive factor for you? That this is not just a boyfriend, this is a husband. How did you discover that for yourself?
I realized that things I wanted to say, before I say it, he already knew.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. He could read your mind.
Kind of. And he felt the same way for me. I think the books that we read, the thinking process we go through, and lots of things that I guess we think alike, a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. You share a lot in common.
Yeah, we share a lot of in common. And he cares about people, all these things that I value. I think he has them.
Today, Q is not only a happily married woman and a mother of a 2-year-old boy, Lucas. She's also a savvy entrepreneur with big dreams. But remember, we told you earlier in the show that there was a bad period in the first year of her startup. She felt alone in the dark and directionless.
It was really depressing. And you felt like any day you could go crazy.
In our next episode, is entrepreneurship right for you? Q will tell us how she found lights at the end of the tunnel, why she kept going, and where's the source of her strength. We also want to include you in this conversation. What are your questions about being an entrepreneur? To send us your questions and stories, just go to our website at chinapersonified.com under Pitch a Story, or email me your audio story maximum 5 minutes to info@chinapersonified.com before our deadline next Tuesday, September 27th. I may contact you for an interview or include your voice in our next episode the following Tuesday on October 4th. I'd love to hear from you. I'm Mabel Chan. 1 in a billion is listening to China, one person at a time.